we're getting a full pot of this in just these 2 pots. It's one of my favourite recipes, and I recently cooked it at the Camp Wild Camp Out, and it went down really well, and for good reason. It's amazing. Hello and welcome back to Off the Beaten Pot. It has been a minute since I have put out a video, and today we are going to make a wild mushroom and apricot tagine. So earlier this year I had the absolute privilege and honour of cooking for Van Gogh for an event they had in the Yorkshire Dales. They approached me and asked me if I would make them a series of videos, and I absolutely said yes. I love Van Gogh. I've been a Van Gogh user for decades, and to have the opportunity to make a video for them is incredible. So you might have seen on my Instagram page that I've made a version of this using all fresh ingredients, a few dried ingredients, whereas this one is a version that I've adapted to use for people who are a bit more conscious of the weight that they need to carry. So everything you need are in these pots. In here we've got our lentils and dried vegetables, and in this one we've got our chopped up apricots and all of the seasonings and spices. So in here we've got cumin, paprika, cinnamon, ginger, salt, pepper, dried coriander, and that's all gone into that one. So just these 2 things and some mushrooms that we foraged earlier, and that is going to feed us very well. I'm going to start by just putting some oil in our pots, and while that's heating up we're going to chop our mushrooms, and we're not going for exact here, we're just going for in. I just cut them into relatively small. I've just got a small amount of mushrooms as well today because I'm just making a serving for myself. If you don't want to forage, you can always you can buy fresh or you can buy dried mushrooms from the supermarket, and then that takes the guesswork out. And this is so simple. We're just going to put in our mushrooms and our apricots with flavours, and our vegetables and lentils. If you were here, you'd see how amazing it smelled. And we're just going to stir that together and get the oil all over the ingredients and get the flavours mixing with each other. Add a bit more oil. So the oil, this is olive oil. It adds calories and a bit of flavour. You don't want this to burn, so when it feel it catching, just stir it a bit more. And we're just going to stir it until we can smell that everything has mushed itself together. But all I've done is broken half a stock cube into there, and we're going to add water until it just covers the ingredients, and give it another stir. Then at this stage we are going to add our tomato puree. This is going to make it very tomatoey. So if you've got the means, I'm just going to use half of that, or 1 big glump full. Glump, it's a real word. And stir that in. If you're making more, you can use more tomato puree, or of course you can use powdered tomatoes or fresh tomatoes. So we're just going to let that simmer and enjoy the smells as they fill the forest. So periodically you're just going to stir this to stop it from burning onto the bottom of the pot. Alternatively, you can put the simmering on, get it quite low, put the lid on to catch some of that moisture, and the lentils are going to take a lot of the moisture out of it as well. So just stirring it, keeping an eye, and then just keep topping up with water bit by bit as you need to, so you can get that consistency that you want. And another thing we're going to add to this is the smoky peach and jalapeno blend from Field Blends, because I want it to be a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, and this stuff is incredible. At the moment it's my favourite blend of theirs. Another way of regulating heat, and I say this often, especially when it's on full bore, is you can use your simmering to turn it down, or if you've got a regulating stove you can regulate it, or just lift your pot off to let it cool down a little bit, and also as we add the water to keep the consistency level, that will cool it down somewhat as well. Now, I love stews, I love making stews, and this one is great for this time of year. The cumin, the cinnamon, and all of those nice sort of Middle Eastern herbs give it a sort of lighter vibe, even though the temperature's turning. So you get the warming heartiness of stew, but you get to cling on to summer a little bit with those really lovely spices and flavours. And you can see how much we're making. We're getting a full pot of this in just these 2 pots, which is quite amazing. All you've got to do is add water. And then really it's just a case of stirring it, tasting it, seasoning, cooking it, tasting it, seasoning if it needs it, until the lentils are cooked. If you want to go the extra mile, you can make a flatbread recipe, which I have one in my cookbook, Recipes for Rogues, or you can buy a flatbread from the shop. They last for ages, and you can just do that. But today we're going without bread. Another great thing about this recipe is it's quite inert in terms of ingredients. So if you're allergic to gluten, doesn't have any meat in it, doesn't have any dairy products in it. Some people can be allergic to onions, and we've got dried onion in here, but you just take the onion out. So it's quite generally a safe recipe and really tasty, and you get loads of protein from your lentils and your pulses you might want to add in, loads of nutrients from the vegetables that we put in there, and the fresh mushrooms go a long way as well. It's one of my favourite recipes, and I recently cooked it at the Camp Wild Camp Out, and it went down really well, and for good reason. It's amazing. Smells incredible. That's about 10 minutes later. Those lentils are cooked, and that's all you're really waiting for here. When the lentils are cooked, everything else should be. It's going to be hot. It's delicious. It's spicy. It's got that kick from the jalapeno. It's hearty. The apricots really give it a fruity, summery lift. So, thanks Vango for asking me to put these videos together. Nice, easy one to get you guys started, and really good transitional meal to go from summer to autumn. Cheers and gone.